Chapter 7. Residents at One Can Hill, Singapore. The cook had brought home the most scrumptious Singaporean breakfast delicacies from the market. There was tree kui, a delicately steamed rice flour cakes topped with salty radish, pickle and chili sauce, freshly grilled roti prata, crispy buttery Indian bread served with a curry dipping sauce, chai kway teow, daikon chai tao kwai, daikon radish cakes, pan fried with eggs, shrimp and spring onion, and char siu bao, sweet barbecue pork buns. As Eleanor and Philip gleefully unwrapped the brown wax paper packets of food, Nick entered the white Kalata marble-clad kitchen and padded towards the elegant diner-style banquet that had been glassed in so Eleanor guests could enjoy a chef's table experience without having to worry about getting any of the smoking aromas on their expensive outfits or in their perfect coiffures. Oh, good, you're up. Come, eat while it's still hot, Eleanor said, dipping a piece of her roti prata into the spicy coconut chicken curry. Nick stood at the table, not saying anything. Eleanor looked up at him and saw the grimace on his face. What's wrong? Are you constipated? I know we shouldn't have gone to that Italian restaurant last night. So overrated and so awful. I rather enjoyed my linguine with white truffles, Philip commented. Nothing special. I could open a can of Campbell's cream of mushroom soup and pour it over some noodles and you wouldn't even know the difference. Not worth the money, even if Colin did pay. And all that cheese always clogs up the system. I just can't believe you sometimes. Nick put out a chair and sat down at the banquet. What don't you believe? Eat a ripe banana or I have some Metamucil that doesn't work. I'm not constipated, Mum. I'm annoyed. I just got off the phone with Rachel. Oh, how is she? Eleanor asked in a merry tone as she spooned a heaped portion of chai tow kway into her austere de Belanti plate. You know exactly how she is. You spoke to her yesterday. Oh, she told you? She's my wife. She tells me everything, Mum. I can't believe you actually asked her what kind of birth control we use. What's wrong with that? Eleanor asked. Have you gone completely mental? She's not some Singaporean girl you can interrogate about every body function. She's American. They don't discuss things like that with just anyone. I am just not anyone. I'm her mother-in-law. I have a right to know when she's ovulating, Eleanor snapped. No, you don't. She was so appalled and embarrassed she didn't even know what to say. No wonder she hung up so quickly, Eleanor giggled. This whole grandchildren business has to stop, Mum. We won't be pressured into having kids just because you want us to. Eleanor banged down her chopsticks irritably. You think I'm pressuring you? Yeah, you don't know the meaning of pressure. When your father came back from our honeymoon, your darling Armand commanded her maids to ransack our luggage. When she found our French letters, she got so upset. She said that if I wasn't pregnant within 6 weeks, she would throw me out of the house. Do you really want to know what it took for me to get pregnant? Your father and I had to stop boundaries, please. I don't need to know any of this. Nick groaned, waving his hands in front of her mother's face frantically. Believe me, I'm not trying to press you to have a child. I'm only trying to help you. Help me how? By trying to ruin my marriage again? Don't you see? I thought if we caught Rachel at the right time in a cycle, we could just fly her to Singapore. Auntie Carol already offered to loan her new Gulfstream G650. It's very fast, and Rachel can be here in 18 hours. She can even come this weekend, and my Kang Tao at Capella Resort can get a nice ocean view suite. And then what? You do your job and get pregnant, and then we can announce it immediately, and then maybe, just maybe, Amma will agree to see you. Nick looked at her father incredulously. Can you believe this? Philip simply put a char siu bao on Nick's plate in the silent show of commiseration. Believe what? I'm trying to do anything I can to get you into that damn house. Your best chance now is to get Rachel pregnant. We need to prove to CU that you can actually produce the next heir to Tai Straw Park, Nick sighed. I don't think that's going to matter at this point, Mum. You don't know your grandmother. She's so old-fashioned. Of course it will matter to her. I will restore you into her good graces. She will have no choice but to see you. Listen to me, Mum. Rachel's not going to get pregnant just so I can see Amma. That's the most ridiculous plan I've ever heard. You should stop all your ploys trying to get into Tai Straw Park. It's only going to make things worse. I've actually made my peace with the whole situation. I came to Singapore. I offered to visit Amma. If she doesn't want to see me, I'll get over it. At least I tried. Eleanor wasn't listening to him. Instead, her eyes narrowed as new thought entered her head. Don't tell, Nicky, are you, how do they say it, robbing banks? Nick furrowed his brows in confusion. Robbing banks? What do you think? What do you mean? I do all my banking online these days, Mum. Ah, yeah. When was the last time you went to see the doctor? Do you have a good urologist in New York? Eleanor demanded. Philip chuckled, realizing that his wife was talking about. She means shooting blanks, Nicky. Yes, yes, shooting blanks. Have you ever checked your sperm count? You used to play around with so many girls that when you were younger, maybe you used all of your good sperm. Oh my God, Mum. Oh my God. Nick put his hand in his forehead and shook his head, completely mortified. Don't oh my God me, I'm dead serious, Eleanor said indignantly as she chewed. Nick got up from the table in a huff. I'm not going to answer any more of these questions. So weird and inappropriate, and don't you dare bring up any of this up with Rachel either. Have some respect for our privacy, okay, Lala? Don't be so sensitive. I wish we hadn't sent you to school in England. I don't know what kind of man they turn you into over there. Everything's so private with you, even medical issues. You're my son. I've watched your nannies change your diapers, you know. Now, aren't you going to eat any of the food we brought? The chilkway is extra good today, Eleanor said. Not only have I completely lost my appetite, but I'm going to meet Astrid for breakfast. Ah, yeah, that poor girl. Did you read the latest gossip this morning? No, Mum, I don't pay attention to silly gossip, Nick replied as he stormed out. Chapter 8. Emerald Hill, Singapore. Since separating from Michael, Astrid had moved into one of the heritage shop houses on Emerald Hill Road that she inherited from her great-aunt Matilda Leong. As Nick strolled down the street towards her place, he couldn't help but stop along the way and admire some of the ornamental friezes, timber frame windows, and elaborate entrance gates on the beautiful restored Peranakan-style terrace homes that made the street so unique. No two facades were alike. Each one blended different elements of Chinese, Baroque, late Victorian, and Art Deco details. When Nick was a child, many of these shop houses where old Peranakan families lived and worked had fallen into neglect, and the street had an air of faded grandeur. But now the real estate prices had shot up to absurd levels, and the neighborhood had been designated a conservation area. These houses had become highly coveted properties going for tens of millions. Many of them had been turned into hip bars or sidewalk cafes, leading one of Nick's snootier relatives to derisively refer to Emerald Hill as the street where all the Ang Mo Gao Sai go to. But Nick found it all rather charming. Arriving at a handsome white shop house with smoky grey shutters, he stopped and rang the doorbell. A blonde girl in her early 20s peered over the pintu pagar, an ornately carved wooden half door that was a typical feature of such houses, and asked in a heavy French accent, "Are you Nicholas?" Nick nodded, and she slid the lock open to allow him to enter. "I'm Ludovine, Cassian's au pair," she said. "Salut, Ludovine." "Ça va?" Nick said with a smile. Comme ici, comme ça." Ludovine replied coquettishly, wondering why she never met Madame's haughty French-speaking cousin before. Stepping into the front foyer, Nick could see that the room had been painstakingly restored to its original style. The floor was an elegant mosaic of ceramic tiles painted in a William Morris-esque floral pattern, and intricately carved gilt wood screens created a partition between the front room and the rest of the house. Beyond the centerpiece of a typical Peranakan front room was the ancestral shrine, and Ashford had honoured the tradition by installing an elaborate Victorian altarpiece against the back wall. But instead of placing pictures of dead relatives or porcelain gods within the altar, she had cheekily hung a small Egon Schiele drawing of a nude male figure inside. Ludwig led Nick from the front foyer through a darkened antechamber into the Tumsam. The open courtyard exposed to the sky that provided the natural ventilation and lighting essential to these long, narrow shop houses. Here, Ashford had departed from tradition and completely transformed the space. The roof had been glassed in, and the entire space air-conned, while the usual concrete floor was now covered in obsidian black tiles, making it shiny like a pool of black ink. but the piece de resistance was a east wall of a courtyard where Astrid had worked with the pioneering French landscape architect Patrick Blanc to install a vertical garden that saw 3 stories high. Creeper ferns and other exotic palms seemed to grow out of the wall, defying gravity. Against this dramatic fresco of Flora was a sleek arrangement of sculptured bronze divan covered in soft pillows of blindingly white linen. There was a verdant monastic stillness to the space, and in the midst of it all, Astrid perched cross-legged on a divan, nestled a cup of tea on her lap, zenly attired in a black tank top and voluminously black skirt. Astrid stood up and gave Nick a tight hug. I've missed you. Same here. So this is where you've been slumming it. Yeah, you like it? It's incredible. I remember coming here as a kid for one of your great aunts' young feast. I can't believe what you've done with it. I moved in here thinking it would just be temporary, but I ended up falling in love with the place, so I figured I'd do some work on it. I can feel my great aunt all around me here. Astrid gestured for Nick to take a seat next to her on the divan, and she began to pour him some tea out of our cast iron teapot. This is Nilgiri from the Dunsandel Tea Estate in South India. I hope you like it. Nick took a sip of the tea, savoured in delicate smokiness. Fantastic. He gazed in wonder at the aquila patterned skylight far above. You really are done yourself with this space. Thanks, but I can't take any credit for it. Studio KO, this amazing patrician duo, designed everything. Well, I'm sure you inspired them much more than you let on. I don't think I'll ever be in a house quite like this. It feels like Marrakesh 200 years from now. Astrid smiled and gave a little sigh. I wish I could be in Marrakesh 200 years from now. Yeah, I get the feeling it hasn't been all that great. I'm mourning. What's this latest gossip I hear? Nick asked, sinking down into the plush sofa. Oh, you haven't seen it. Nick shook his head. Well, I'm very famous now, Astrid said self-mockingly as she handed him the newspaper. It was the South China Morning Post, and on the front page the headline screamed, Michael Teo seeks record $5 billion divorce settlement from heiress Astrid Leong, Singapore. For the past 2 years, billionaire venturous capitalist Michael Teo, 36, has been mired in divorce proceedings with Singapore heiress Astrid Leong. What was supposed to be an amicable divorce has taken a new twist as Mr. Teo's legal team is now demanding a $5 billion settlement in light of our recent developments. Last week, pictures of Miss Leong, 37, went viral on international gossip sites. The image purport to show Miss Leong being proposed to by Hong Kong tech tycoon Charlie Wu, 37, at the Marangai Fort in Jodhpur, East India. Surrounding them with 100 classical Indian dancers, 20 sitar players, 2 elephants, and Bollywood superstar Shah Rukh Khan, who reportedly serenaded the couple with a Hindi version of the Jay Samara's love song I'm Yours. Mr. T is now accusing Miss Leong of intolerable cruelty and adultery. In this latest divorce filing, he claims to have incontrovertible evidence that his wife had been having an affair with Mr. Wu since as early as 2010. It is a sad ending to what was once a romantic Cinderella story in reverse. Mr. T, the son of 2 school teachers, grew up in a middle-class housing in Taipei, met Miss Tao and heiress to one of Asia's largest fortune at the birthday party of one of his army friends. After a whirlwind courtship and wedding, the ridiculous photogenic couple married in 2006. It was a union that took many in Asia society circles by surprise. Miss Leong is the only daughter of Henry Leong, the president of SNK Leong Holdings Proprietary Limited, the secretive conglomerate said to the world's leading supplier of palm oil. Before she married Mr. Teo, she had previously been engaged to Charles Wu and was linked to a Muslim prince and several members of European nobility. Like her family, Miss Leong is an exceedingly private individual who has never granted an interview and no social media presence. The Heron Wealth Report has ranked the Leong family number 3 on the list of Asia's richest families and estimates Miss Leong's personal fortune to be in excess of $10 billion. Now, half of Miss Leong's fortune is at stake, along with custody of the 7-year-old Cassian. My client is a self-made billionaire. This is not about the money, claims Mr. Teo's lawyer, Jackson Lee, as of the esteemed firm Gladwell and Malcolm. This is about the principle of it all. Michael Teo, lawyer and devoted husband, has been humiliated on the world stage. Imagine how you would feel if the woman you were still married to was proposed to by another man in such a public and disgustingly showy manner. Singapore legal experts feel that Mr. Teo's legal maneuvers are unlikely to succeed due to Miss Leong's asset being tied up in the labyrinth SK Leong Trust. but the latest filings has already done its damage. An insider Singapore social scene comments. The Leongs do not ever like being in the news. This is a huge embarrassment for them. Bloody hell, Nick said, throwing the newspaper on the floor in disgust. Astrid smiled at him wanly. How does the Post get away with publishing this? I've never read so much bullshit in my life. You're telling me, self-made billionaire my ass, and if you're really worth 10 billion, there's this David Bowie limited edition box set I want for my birthday. It's $89.95 on Amazon. Astrid laughed for a moment and then shook her head. All my life, I've done everything to avoid being in any newspapers, but it seems like these days the harder I try, the more I end up becoming front page news. My parents are apologetic with rage. They were angry enough when the pictures first leaked, but this just put them over the edge. My mother has taken to her bed and is mainlining Xanax, and I've never heard my father scream so loud as he did this morning when he came by with the newspaper. The blood vessel was bulging out of his temple so hard I thought he was going to have a stroke. But can't they see that none of this is your fault? I mean, surely they know that Michael set this all up. It seems pretty obvious to me, but of course it doesn't matter to them. I'm the naughty girl who snuck off to India. I mean, I'm a 37-year-old mother, and I still have to ask my parents' permission to go away for the weekend. It's all my fault. I'm the one who's exposed the family. I'm the one who's disgraced the family name for 1,000 generations. Nick shook his head in commiseration, cracking his knuckles as something else came to his mind. You got to give Michael some credit. He knew that the single parents paper wouldn't touch this story, so he purposely had it leaked to the South China Morning Post in Hong Kong. It was a well-played move. He tried to do maximum damage to Charlie and to our future life there. I bet you anything he's behind those paparazzi pictures too. Charlie seems to think so. He got his whole security team trying to figure out how Michael had me under surveillance. I know this is going into Jason Bourne territory, but is there any way Michael could have put some sort of tracking device on you before you were known? I mean, did he hack your cell phone once upon a time? Asher shook her head. I haven't seen Michael in almost a year. We only communicate through our lawyers now, and that's his doing, not mine. Ever since he hired this Jackson Lee fella, who I'm told is a mad legal genius, things have gone more and more acrimonious. How often does Michael seek Hassim? Technically, he gets him 3 days a week, but Michael really lives up to his end of the deal. He takes Kazim for me once a week or so, but sometimes he goes 2 or 3 weeks before he sees him. It's like he's forgotten he even has a son, Astrid said sadly. A mate entered the courtyard and set a breakfast tray down on the coffee tray. Kaya, toast! Nick exclaimed happily at the sight of the perfectly toasted triangles of bread smeared with thick layers of kaya coconut jam. How did you know I was craving that this morning? Astrid smiled. Don't you know I can read your mind? This is Ching's homemade kaya from Towsville Park, of course. Brilliant, Nick said. Astrid noted the cling of sadness that played across his eyes as he took his first bite of the crispy yet fluffy white bread. Listen, I heard about how you've been banned from Towsville Park. It's so ridiculous. I'm sorry I haven't been able to help, but now that I'm back, I'm going to try to figure something out. Come on, Astrid, you've had so much to do with. Don't worry about it. Do you know that stunt my mother been trying to pull? She wants me to get Rachel pregnant pronto, and then she'll announce the news to Amma in the hopes that she'll want to see me. You can't be serious. She caught Rachel and demanded to know where she was in her cycle. She had Carol, Tia's planning all lined up to risk her to Singapore this weekend, specifically so that I could impregnate her. She even had a honeymoon suit ready at her friend's resort in Sentosa. Astrid clapped her hands in laughter. Jesus, and I thought I had a crazy mother. No one is crazier than Eleanor Young. Well, at least she's trying to look after you. She'll do anything for you to get back in Ammar's good graces. For my mother, everything's about the house. But you know, I just want to see Ammar. It's taken a while to get there, but I realise I do owe her an apology. That's big of you, Nikki. I mean, she was pretty horrendous to you about Rachel, I know, but I still shouldn't have said the things I said. I know how much it hurt her. Astrid reflected on this, staring into her teacup for a moment before looking up at her cousin. I don't understand why Ammar suddenly doesn't want to see you. I sat by her bedside for a whole week and while she was at Mount E. She knew you were on your way back and she never mentioned anything about not wishing to see you. Something's up. I think Auntie Victoria, Eddie, or somebody has sometimes been influencing her while I've been out of the picture. Nick looked at Astrid happily. Maybe you can find a way to bring it up with her, said delicately. You've always had a way with her that no one else has. Oh, didn't you know? I'm persona non grata at Towsville Park too. My parents don't want me to show my face at the house or anywhere in public for that matter until this scandal blows over a bit. We couldn't help but laugh at the whole situation, so we both been excommunicated, as if we were the devil's spawn. Yet we're the freaking children of the corn. But what can we do? Mum doesn't want anything to do, not want anything to at all to risk upsetting Amar right now. I think Amar would be more upset that you're not there by her bedside, Nick said indignantly. I should lie, spring with tears. We're losing precious time with her. Nikki, every day she's fading away more and more. Thanks for listening.